Yo, what's up, guys? I'm going to go through some bets here in a second, but let me just share my screen. Let's make sure this is working. Okay, here we go. So figured I would just do, a quick live stream. Been trying to do these more often, just kind of show, how I'm finding profitable bets, all that sort of good stuff. So I found some good plays on Underdog Fantasy. Let's see if they're still available, as well as this parlay play platform. So we can kind of go through them. So let me open it up. So we can start out with this play, right? We can look at parlay play. So again, you may use different sports books, Underdog Fantasy, parlay play, like a lot of the platforms. Obviously, I give out, plays on PrizePicks we hit earlier on the live stream. There's a benefit to having multiple sports books, and the main benefit of having multiple books is, again, every book has different lines, right? Every book has different odds. So FanDuel isn't legal in my location, but, this would be a great play to have. You can see on FanDuel, they have this Tovar guy to get over 1.5 hits at plus 200. You have all these other data points, right, telling you this should be priced at around plus 150. So if you think about it, right, like, if you go to Facebook stock price, like what's interesting about sports betting is in the stock market, there's one price, right? Like basically you go to Fidelity, you go to E-Trade, you're going to see Facebook is worth 317.58, right? What's crazy about sports betting is all these books set lines independently. So essentially, as a sharp bettor, we're hunting through the tens of thousands of lines on each sports book. I mean, if you think about how many lines these sports books are trying to manage, they're all trying to set lines independently. There's a lot of lines. So we're essentially just like hunting for those few rare spots of gold, just like an investor looking for those few investments that actually have an edge. So what we can do is we can go ahead, we can switch over to parlay play and start to look at some plays. And again, even if you don't use this exact sports book, hopefully this video is helpful to you just in terms of like, the concepts and stuff like that. The goal of these videos is obviously to be educational. I'm not always going to be able to be on live stream. So, hopefully, whatever, these videos are helpful in terms of learning about profitable sports betting. So we'll switch over to the MLB and take a look at this first player, Dean Kremer. Nope. So I need to go to strikeouts. And then this is just called the sportsbook screen. It kind of gives you like, it doesn't recommend bets or anything. It just kind of gives you a full view of like the line movements. You can see line movements are in, green and red. And also where books are setting their lines, right? So for example, here, you could know nothing about baseball, right? This is just like being, rational, data-driven, however you want to think about it. Is again, like imagine there were all these different stock exchanges. Every single stock exchange is telling you, this stock is worth $4.50. In parlay play, this one, other stock exchange is telling you it's worth $5, right? Like this, I'm not saying it's a lock. I'm not saying anything like that. And it looks like they just moved their line. You can see they locked it, but I can go ahead and I can search it. And you can see they already bumped it down to 4.5. So some of these lines move quickly. I'll try to just, move a bit faster. But let's go ahead. Let's try to hit a parlay play. So we can start out with Urias, right? And we can take a look at this play. And did they lock him too? It looks like his line was 5. His line was 5.5 on Underdog. His line was 5.5 on PrizePicks. So it looks like they bumped him up as well. But what else can we look at? So this one seems kind of interesting. If we go to the WNBA, right? And then we go to Sabrina, right? We want to go to player assists. And we want to go to Sabrina. And it looks like they locked that as well. Man, they're locking everything. Moving pretty quickly here. So what we can do is let me just refresh this. And again, like maybe you use these books, maybe you don't. If you use FanDuel, obviously that's one of the most popular books. Hit that play on Tovar. This is something I would bet and I would typically show on live stream, but I'm currently not in a location, where FanDuel's legal. They're pricing this at plus 200. Other books are around, plus 140, plus 150. So we can go here, here's a play on Sabrina, but it looks like they locked it. I mean, you can see there's some big discrepancies in the market. Books have her line at 5.5 assists. Underdog Fantasy has her line. Did they move it? So they already bumped it down. Man, they're bumping everything really quickly. So what I'll do is I'll refresh this. And we can take a look. So let's go back here. So you can see, this play on Parlay Play seems pretty good. His line is 3.5 on Parlay Play. PrizePicks and Underdog Fantasy have his line at 3. So it's like, okay, we can go here. And it looks like they already bumped that down to 3. So they're kind of bumping everything pretty quickly. But what I can do is go back here. And we just got to hunt down some plays. So another tool that's pretty useful, like the Fantasy Optimizer shows bets, OddsJam, all these different tools, whatever, like they all work in slightly different ways. But the whole point is just to help you find, their tools to help find value in the market. So if you take a look at this play on Gray, hopefully they didn't bump this. His strikeout line is 5.5 on Parlay Play. So you may be like, okay, who cares? Why is this a good play? So the way that this Parlay Play platform works, so I can actually just go to this little DFS guide, is you're going to see on this platform, you have to win above 53.2% of your picks to be profitable. So you may be like, okay, how does that make sense? Whatever. So you're going to see this platform, right? They don't change your payout based on the picks you select. Any 2 picks you select, you're getting a 3x payout, right? It doesn't matter if you take overs, unders, you're getting a 3x payout. Doesn't matter if I switch it to another baseball pick, still a 3x payout, right? Doesn't matter if I change this to an under, still a 3x payout. So these are what are called fixed payout platforms, right? Underdog Fantasy, Parlay Play, PrizePicks, they all work the same way. They don't change your payout based on you selecting over versus under. So the way you beat them, right, the way you become profitable on these platforms, on these sports books, is you win, above 53.27% of your picks for 6 pick entries or 5 pick entries, right? 53.2, 53.27, whatever. It's something like that for 6 pick or 5 pick entries with insurance, right? So what Parlay Play assumes, so what this sports book is hoping for is if you're not, sharp, if you're not a sharp bettor, you're only going to be able, or you don't have an advantage. You picking overs, unders is like you flipping a coin, right? You're going to win 50% of your picks. You're going to lose 50% of your picks. You're going to win 50. You're going to lose 50% of your picks. So you're not going to, win long term because you have to get an advantage. To be profitable on this platform, you need to win plays like this, 54% of the time, only losing 46% of the time to turn a profit. And if it's not clear, why on Underdog Fantasy, on Underdog Fantasy, I give out a lot of 3 pick entries. That article, which I've shared in before, but it kind of breaks it down. For these 3 pick parlays, Underdog Fantasy, I mean, it's kind of small to see, but they're always giving you a 6x payout. Whereas this Parlay Play platform is only giving you a 5x payout. So it's a crappy payout, right? But let's get a slip together and I'll share this article in here. I mean, I think this is kind of the key to betting on, my bad. I'll do it next time. I mean, this isn't going to be a super long live stream, just going to find a few bets. But the general strategy for beating, Parlay Play, whatever, is pretty simple, right? This is a platform where they don't change your payout based on you selecting over versus under, right? So if I were to take him over, I'm getting a 3x payout. Under, I'm getting a 3x payout. But all the sports books, right? So you can see the line movements here, whatever, but all the sports books, just like the price of a stock is always changing as news comes out, economic news about the company, new products, new features, whatever, causes the stock price to change. It's kind of the same thing in sports betting, right? Weather changes, lineup changes, all these things move around lines. But regardless, what you're going to see is every sports book has his under 4.5 strikeouts heavily favored. Right? Every book is telling you, hey, the under is a lot more likely than the over, right? So why on earth would you include his over in your Parlay Play entry when literally every single sports book Every single sports book, right? These books with complicated markets, they've invested a lot of money in their ability to set lines. Like, of course, you're going to take the under. Why would you take his over when all the books have the under favored, right? So you want to take the under. The under is more likely. He's obviously going to go over 4.5 or under 4.5. So if the under is more likely, it's like finding a coin weighted in your favor, where the coin's like 55% to show up on heads, only 45% tails. Here, the under is the favorite outcome. The under is the more likely outcome. So that's the play we want to include in our parlay play slip, right? And again, some people will be like, oh, you didn't consider, historical data. You didn't consider, what did he do last game and stuff like that. But the thing is like, it doesn't matter, right? Like if, Ross Stripling had 10 strikeouts or 3 strikeouts, it's already priced into the market, right? It's already baked into the odds. Any public information, if it's going to be rainy, it's baked into the odds, right? Like everything. It's just like if Facebook, if there's some news report that there's fraud at the company, you can't look at the stock a week later and be like, oh, sounds like a good time to sell Facebook because they got fraud, right? It's like that's already, priced in to the market, right? The market adjusts. So you'll see that. But long story short, those plays seem pretty good. So what we can do is we can go back here and we can look at some plays. So is this play available? I'm not sure if the eSports is wrong. We have 3 plays on parlay play, but again, we want to get 2 more. So it's saying this line is at 3.5, but obviously I'm screwing up. And again, it's not perfect. Like I use the software to find my plays, but again, like, it's processing a lot of data. So there will be times it's a little slow or something's wrong. And if that's the case, you can always email me and I'll make sure it gets fixed. And I'll make sure it gets fixed quickly. And same for any questions that I don't respond to here. Like I respond to all my Twitter DMs. I respond to all emails. So, feel free to reach out anytime with any questions. So we can keep on going. So we can take a look at this Brianna Stewart play, right? So let's go here to rebounds. Seems like some of these lines are moving pretty quickly on parlay play. So if you take a look here, I mean, this play seems maybe a little good. It's also available on Underdog Fantasy and PrizePicks. But you can see there's like a discrepancy in the market, right? FanDuel has the line at 8.5 with the over slightly favored. DraftKings has the line at 9.5. Betano has the line, like all the sports books, right? Parlay Play is a fantasy site. These platforms that don't have odds, like there's no odds on this site, technically a fantasy site. But the sports books, bigger companies, DraftKings, $1 million company, they have the under 9.5 favored. So maybe a little bit of value there. Again, there's no like perfect science to it. We can go to Natasha Howard. I mean, we need 2 more picks on Parlay Play to kind of round out this entry, complete this entry. So what I can do is just kind of like, whatever, take a look at a few of these. And so we can go here to Natasha Howard, right? So you can see here, this seems pretty good, right? This seems actually really good. I like this play better. And again, like, there's different, the software is not perfect. And what I mean by that is like, as a simple example, when you're betting on eSports, the one thing, you got to remember. So if I put in like, FanDuel and DraftKings and stuff like that. So let's go here. Is right. When you're betting on the MLB, if I switch over here, you have really high like confidence in the lines, right? Because there's tons of sports books and all these books have sophisticated models. They have full-time employees watching their lines. They have good data feeds and they're all data points, right? So here, like there's, literally dozens of sports books all pricing this exact same bet, right? That's what's so crazy is all these books have different odds for the same bet, which would be like Fidelity and E-Trade and Robinhood all having different prices for Facebook, 250, 300, 350. Like it wouldn't even make sense. It would be a great time to be a day trader, but unfortunately, that's not the case. It's only in sports betting where the market is so fragmented like this. So, you should have more confidence betting on the MLB because you got a lot of data points. Whereas in something like eSports, there's literally like 3 sports books that have eSports player props, maybe 4, right? So like, long story short, you should be less confident in your bets. Even though a play may look good, the more data you see, the more confident you are that the bet is good. So for this play on Natasha Howard, as an example, if we go back here, it's like this play also looks good on PrizePicks if you want to start building a PrizePick slip. But it's like, okay, Underdog has her line lower. FanDuel has her line lower, right? PrizePicks is at 18, FanDuel's at 17.5, and they have the under favored. Golden Nugget, another sports book, has the line at 17.5. They have the under at minus 140. FanDuel's only at minus 128. So Golden Nugget has the under even more favored than FanDuel does. So parlay plays at 18, FanDuel's at 17.5, has the under favored. Golden Nugget has the under even more favored. This odds jam algo odds column is just like a weighted average of all the sports books in the market, Caesars, Hot Streak. Every book is a data point. So that'll be a play we take. And then we can go to, what do we want to take? Brandon Biliak, under 3.5 strikeouts. All the books have the under favored. It's like, sure, right? So it's pretty simple. You're looking for discrepancies in the line. So I'll place a $100 insured entry. And it looks like the Ross Stripling play moved. So annoying, but whatever. We'll go back here. Again, I don't have access to FanDuel. If you use FanDuel, that seems like a good play. But we can see the Sandy play got a little better. And we have a new play on Darvish, as well as Sean Murphy under 1.5 bases. So again, not doing any magic. I know I'm going to have winning days and, losing days. I'm really just following the data, trying to find plays with an edge. And again, these plays have a little lower of a profit margin than this play on Sandy. But on parlay play, we explained earlier, these 6-pick entries are horrible payouts. So we want to go to over under 5.5 and we want to hit the over, right? So again, it's pretty simple. Parlay plays a platform. They don't change your payout. You can literally see right here, 6-pick insured entry. Your payout doesn't change based on you selecting over or under. All the books have the over heavily favored, around minus 133. So again, some plays will be a little better. Some plays will be a little worse. But I explained earlier, why you don't want to place 3-pick entries on parlay play. Place the bet. We are working on submitting your picks. There we go. Okay, so there's my 6-pick entry. So long story short, there are going to be some plays that are a little bit higher of a profit margin. There will be some plays a little lower. But the point is you want to go with 6-pick or 5-pick insured entries. Anyways, let me look for a flip play. And if, you want to take a screenshot, here it is. John Gray over 5.5 strikeouts, Sandy under 5.5. Natasha Howard under 18, Brandon under 3.5, Sean Murphy under 1.5, and Yu Darvish over 5.5. And it's, again, the strategy is pretty simple. Look for spots where books have an over or an under heavily favored. You don't necessarily have to use odds jam. Pull up all the sports books, pull up DraftKings, FanDuel. Look for where parlay play has a line and sports books have it heavily favored. And, we have a bunch more tutorial videos about all this sort of stuff if you want to, learn more. So what I can do is I can go here and again, every book has different, whatever, or every state has different sports books. So someone asked for a flip play. So let's take a look at flip. So right now, this is the best play on flip. Looks like pretty solid value, right? And again, we have videos about how to back out. Under this percent column is your profit margin. So you bet this for $100. Your profit margin is $4.41. And we have videos about the math behind that, how sports books work, how to calculate profit margin, edge, no vig odds, right? I don't want to dwell on it, but this play seems good on flip. I used to be able to bet on flip from my computer, but it looks like the app stopped working. So you got to use your phone, which is fine with me. But this play seems good. So hopefully you trust me that, I'm betting this because I'm betting this. So what we can do is we can go to, what is it? Under 7 plus 195. And again, a lot of people will be like, oh, you didn't consider what happened the last time the Yankees and the Angels played. You haven't considered how great Ohtani's playing. It doesn't matter, right? It's all baked into the market. It's like if you ask me, what is Facebook, the company, worth? Currently, it's priced in the market. The market cap is $813 billion. I could spend the rest of my life researching Facebook. I'm never going to be smarter than the market because the market is based on, everything, right? It's where supply and demand is equal. Like every day, there are millions of people thinking, is this really smart people thinking, is this company overvalued or undervalued? Should I buy? Should I sell? Or should I do nothing? Which is why, if you read online, nobody beats the stock market long term. It's nearly impossible to just trade stocks and just win because, again, the market is smart. And here it's the same thing. Like, I know BetMGM is smarter than me. They'll always have a better model than me if I tried to create my own model for alternate runs in MLB, right? So it's really about finding discrepancies between sports books using odds against them, right? BetMGM isn't a sports book I can use right now, but I hit this bet and I'm looking at their odds as a source of, information. So this play also seems good. So might as well double down, right? So we also have the under 8 runs at plus 115. Twins under 3.5, but I'd say, the first 2 bets to go with, this one's the best play on the board, right? Under 7 runs. So we can switch over to Underdog Fantasy, take a look. See if we can find anything. So again, on Underdog Fantasy, we want 3 picks. You can see there's some discrepancies. And again, this isn't something you necessarily, I'm just showing you how I bet. And this isn't, so you can see here, right? For this Parker guy, his line is 15.5 on Underdog Fantasy. His line is, so I think it's CSGO or no, Dota. Okay. So we want to go here, right? There's a big line discrepancy, right? And that's all OddsJam is showing you. And you can hunt through the market. There's a lot of esports games on a daily basis. I mean, literally, there's thousands of players if you look right now. And really all OddsJam is doing is most of these bets are horrible, right? Usually the sports books are in line. There's no value. OddsJam's updating 1 million odds every second, right? Tens of thousands of odds on Fliff. And you can see on Fliff, there's only 2 bets out of the 10,000 odds OddsJam is reading in and comparing to the rest of the market. There's only 2 bets that are recommended, right? So you're looking for those few rare spots where sportsbooks are, slipping up, screwing up, however you want to think about it. So I'll refresh this, Underdog Fantasy, anything we like. So the Sandy play also seems decent. His under 5.5 strikeouts, double lift over 4.5 kills. I mean, that doesn't seem horrible. If we wanted to create something, and it looks like they locked it. Insane. And again, not every bet's going to win. But you got to remember on Underdog Fantasy, we're in general placing these 3-pick parlays. They pay out 6 times, right? So you bet 100, you win 600. So you're not going to win most of them. You're betting 100 to win 600. So sure, I lost, 3 bets in a row here. That's $450, but then you go up 600, right? And then down 200. So then I'm down 50. But then you go on a winning streak like this, and it puts you well above the pack, right? 750 pays for a lot of slips. So been running really hot if you just totaled this up on Underdog Fantasy. And again, it's not like every play is winning. I don't even think we've won 50%, right? Maybe we've won 40% of these. But because the payout is so high, right? 3 times if these players push, 7.5 times, right? Stuff like that. It's you don't have to win every slip to be profitable. So we wanted Sandy under 5.5. So we can see if this play is available. And it is available. So we'll go here. And then we want to go to double lift over 4.5. So just these plays in green. PrizePicks has his line at 5. Parlay Play has his line at 5. Right? And again, you can... Did they move the line? Let's refresh this. Or I have to refresh OddsJam. So it looks like they may have moved that, which is annoying. So we can check out this play on Sabrina. So this play is just kind of weird, right? It's like sportsbooks have her line at 4.5. FanDuel has her line at 4.5 with the over heavily favored. DraftKings has her line at 6.5 with the under heavily favored. So, who knows where the line should be? PrizePicks and Parlay Play have pulled their odds. This locked market thing means the sportsbook pulled their odds. So it's just kind of like maybe there's some value here, but clearly something's going on in the game. PrizePicks, Parlay Play pulled lines. And I mean, FanDuel, granted, they have the over favored and DraftKings has the under pretty heavily favored, but there's a pretty big gap here. So as an example, maybe that's a play we decide, okay, like let's just skip it over. So what we can do is we can go here. We can check out PrizePicks, then we can check out, Underdog Fantasy. So I have no idea what's going on here. Luis Castillo, they have his line at 6 on PrizePicks. So you can go here and you can go to the sportsbook screen. Maybe there's a promo going on. So if we go here, oh, they're running a bunch of discounts, right? So I can just recommend some plays for these, whatever discounts. So we can go here. Let me just remove some of these. So obviously these 3 discounted bets are all insanely good. Shouldn't be that surprising. Like the easiest money you're going to make sports betting is when books run really good promos. Like this play on Justin Verlander, they're bringing his line down. Or even better, this play on Rodriguez, they're bringing his line from 6 to 4.5. It's like, okay, if you really wanted to, what you could do is you could go to another sports book and take his under 6. You can middle it, kind of like we've talked about before in eSports, right? And then if he has 5 strikeouts, you'll win this little promo bet on PrizePicks. You'll win the under 6. If he has 6 strikeouts, you'll win your over, and the under on Underdog will push. And again, when you push on Underdog Fantasy, as you can see on my screen, like your 3-pick parlay just becomes a 2-pick parlay. Not the end of the world, right? So why don't we go ahead and just create one? So we can just kind of follow it. I mean, maybe we take this play first, and then we can go to, the next play it's recommending with is Yarbo over 3. And again, we want to go with 5-pick entries on PrizePicks. So this play seems pretty good, right? Tactical, right? So why does this play on tactical seem good? And it's kind of just like, go here, take a look at Underdog and Parlay Play. They have his line at 3. I mean, there's nothing that complicated, right? The same thing as being like a trader. You're looking for these inefficiencies in the market, these edges, and you're capitalizing on them. Not every bet's going to win. But over the course of the long run, if you have an edge, you're guaranteed to win due to the law of large numbers. So Brianna Stewart under 9.5 rebounds. So we can just kind of like create a little slip here on PrizePicks. And again, it's only a $25 max bet size. And the important thing is getting down a lot of profitable plays. So I do spend, maybe a fair amount of time going through some of these. Obviously, I'm trying to focus it on education, but a lot of people, you can just, at the end of the day, if you just want to take the plays in green, like whatever, you can do that. So we can go here to Dota 2 and we can hit this over, right? And this can be our first PrizePicks taco. So, that play seems decent if you want to tail it. Yeah, I saw that. Pretty crazy. But anyways, I'll be back on live later. I'll give out some of the other tacos, on PrizePicks. I'll be back on live if I see some plays on Underdog Fantasy. Hopefully this was kind of helpful. We hit a play on Parlay Play. We hit a play on Fliff. We hit a play on PrizePicks. Any questions you have, again, about whatever, anything related to sports betting, that's my email. Feel free to reach out to me. I respond always, so feel free to hit me up.